knowledge is power is probably the most well-known adage, and it's definitely true. With a complete understanding comes a kind of authority unbeknownst to any other thing you could possess. And the human extremes gone in times of present and history to sort of access the most knowledge has opened the gates to some quite vile and depraved sides of the human, full stop. Um, the sort of esoteric pursuit of ultimate knowledge or true knowledge or a unfiltered reality is something that doesn't come without struggle, but that struggle is usually by those who tend to pursue it, the suffering of others and not themselves. The huge example for this is 1930s Germany. I don't really want to say the name of specific political turned genocidal party because I think you will shaft me for that, but you know who I'm on about. Despite their sort of determined goals of totalitarianism and just world domination, they also had very strong underlyings of an esoteric want for proof of legendary stories of the superhuman Aryan race, the pre-human, giant species, and sort of lost civilizations, their searches through Antarctica for Agartha and what's not. Of course, such party was not very nice to most of the world, and the grounding in that and the justification was, well, because we're the righteous race, we are the supreme Aryan. I don't get that. He had black hair. He wasn't blue eyes and blonde himself. He had black hair. It's kind of. But yes, and also the big genocides, the huge ono of history was sort of a cleansing in their eyes of what had caused the deviation from what the lost civilizations were made of. I've passed the 2-minute mark, so I can mention Hitler had this obsession with proving that he was of a supreme, and Jews were the desolation of that, the ruining of that, and such furthest extremes still exist of that, and were to be proven in some mystical region he believed in. Another less extreme is psychology and science. To know exact things in these fields, it's very commonplace for experiments to go at hand which are borderline abusive or harmful to either animals or humans. Think of Despair of Hell experiment. I'm trying to think of some off the top of my head. I should have made notes. The one with the rats, where they just tortured rats. It's just inhumane, and they say it's for our benefit, and maybe it is, but it could be done somewhat better. Or the instilled hopelessness with the electric shocking dogs. Yes, humanity doesn't do very nice things in pursuit of trying to understand supreme things, and like we think of certain experts in certain fields who are, considered the best at something, and take with that approval of their skills as a justification for an arrogance. The esoteric will be a prick because he sees himself as better as everyone and gives himself justification to be a terrible person. I'm not wearing a tinfoil hat because it's on that thing, but the red beanie will do. There are people nowadays who, in this same pursuit for the highest extent of knowledge, will classify as lower everyone else who does not align with their theories, and will use that as justification to demean and abuse and neglect and ruin sects of humanity, just because they believe they have an upper hand and an authority to gain something the average population, one, doesn't have, and two, doesn't deserve. And I think this is our biggest threat right now, is sort of a high authority search for something we shouldn't have our hands on.